evening. Hope you're all well. Must be getting early, clocks are running late. Number, number, morning sky, so slowly. Dawn is breaking everywhere. Light a candle, curse the glare. Draw the curtains, I don't care, but it's alright. I will get by. I will get by. I will get by. I will survive. I see you've got your list out. Say your piece and get out. I guess I get the gist of it, but it's alright. Sorry that you feel that way. The only thing there is to say, every silver lining's got a touch of grey. I will get by. I will get by. I will get by. I will survive. It's a lesson to me. The Abels and the Bakers and the C's, the ABCs, we all must face. Try to keep a little grace. It's a lesson to me. The deltas and the east and the freeze, the ABCs, we all thank God. Try to win a little love. Another rent is in arrears. The dog has not been fed in years. It's even worse than it appears, but it's alright. Cows giving kerosene, kid can't write 17. The words he knows are all obscene, but it's alright. I will get by. I will get by. I will get by. I will survive. The shoes on the hem that fits, there really isn't much to it. Whistle through your teeth and spit, but it's alright. Oh well, a touch of grey, it kinda suits you anyway, and that is all I have to say, but it's alright. I will get by. I will get by. Jerry Garcia and Robert Hunter. I never was that much of a Grateful Dead fan in the early years. I think probably because if you were going to talk acid rock, we were much more into Hawkwind and the Pink Fairies and bands like that. In fact, I even went to see Hawkwind, quite popular in the West Country. I went to see Hawkwind at it was then Tiffany's on the Quay in Exeter. They used to have rock nights down there, and the place was absolutely heaving. And they never turned up because they'd been arrested on the A30 coming down and busted. So they were all in the police station, Central Police Station at Exeter. So the Pink Fairies played for something like 3 hours, I think, or thereabouts. Anyway, yeah, that was a very interesting evening. Anyway, here's a little touch of Bruce. Northeast Ohio, back in 1803, James and Danny Heaton found the ore that was lying in Yellow Creek. The penalty blast furnace down there on the shore, and there they forged the cannonballs, got the Union to win the war. In a Youngstown, in a Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here in Youngstown. Daddy ran the furnaces, he kept on hotter than hell. I came over from Nam, worked my way to Scotland, a job that would suit the devil well. Taconite and coke and limestone, fed my children, made my pay. Smokestacks reaching like the arms of God into a beautiful sky of soot and clay. In a Youngstown, in a Youngstown, my sweet Jenny, I'm sinking down here in Youngstown. Well, my daddy came on the Ohio works, he came out from World War II. Now it's all scrap and rubble, he said. The big boys did what Hitler he couldn't do. These mills they built, the tanks and bombs, the won this country's wars, sent our boys to Korea and Vietnam, wondering what they were fighting for. From the Monongahela Valley to the Mesabi Iron Range, through the coal mines of Appalachia, oh, the story is still the same. 700 tons of metal a day, you tell me something's changed. But once I made you rich enough to forget my name. In a Youngstown, in a Youngstown, my sweet Julie, I'm sinking down here in Youngstown. When I die, go on no part of heaven, heaven would not suit me well. I pray that the devil comes and takes me down to the fiery furnaces of hell. In a Youngstown, 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 in a Youngstown. And my first and only major tour of the States, we drove all the way up through the metal belt, as it were, going to old Barnsley, Ohio, all kinds of places, and that was the famous incident when myself and Martin Bell decamped quite early in the morning, for us anyway, from the motel, walked all the way down the hill to a kind of saloon, facsimile saloon-like diner where we walked in, and instead of, we still weren't in the groove with a cafe of just sitting there and waiting for your friendly waitress to trip up and, hi, how are you? So we're standing there, and the girl sort of over there by the counter, it really has made herself look as much like Dolly Parton as possible. So we're standing there debating what to have, and she comes up, and obviously we're talking breakfast, and she came right up to us, and she said something along the lines of, "Hey up, love, I can do you an English breakfast." This is just outside Dayton, Ohio. Anyway, she was from Rotherham. It's a long story, I won't go into it now. But yeah, I hope she's still there, frightening English tourists and sort of things like that. Yeah. So I've been lying to you all along. And in fact, I'm completely wrong about Cocaine Blues being the first song I learnt from the Davy Graham album all those years ago in 1964-65. It actually wasn't, and it suddenly dawned on me the other day when someone reminded me of dear old Cyril Tawney, folk luminary, great songwriter. He hated being described as a songwriter, but that's exactly what he was. He's written, a lot of you may know songs of his. Went down to Sammy's bar, all the last boats are leaving. Skippers on the wardroom drinking gin. Hey, oh, chicken on a raft, all of those things. But the first song I learnt was actually this one, Sally Free and Easy. Sally free and easy, that should be her name. Sally free and easy, that should be her name. Took a sailor's loving, took it for a nursery game. Oh, the heart that she gave me was not made of stone. Oh, the heart that she gave me, it was not made of stone. It was sweet and hollow. It was like a honeycomb. Think I'll wait until sunset, see the ensign down. Think I'll wait until sunset, see the ensign down. Then I'll take the tideway, take it to my burying ground. Sally free and easy, That should be her name. Sally, free and easy. That should be her name. When my body is landed, I hope that she dies of shame. Blast from the Past, love that song. Yeah, worth checking out. A lot of Cyril stuff. The next one of these shows that I do will, in fact, incorporate my good friend Mr. Paul Downs, which I think would be very jolly. And Paul and I do a couple of Cyril songs, so who knows? We'll probably sneak one in there. Right, time for a little sonic difference. I shall wheel out the old transverse dulcimer. The Cheats dulcimer, so you don't have to play it on your lap, which is a flaming nuisance anyway. And so this is another song. This is an old song. A lot of you will know this. Of course, there's a dance tune, Brighton Camp, Napoleonic War tune, and there's so many different words to it. But there's a little bit of history about this. Again, back to my old friend Ashley Hutchings. He pointed this out decades ago. He's a big fan of, westerns, and has a lot of residual knowledge about the directors and all the rest of it. And he pointed out that in all the John Ford westerns, the tune Brighton Camp, or The Girl I Left Behind Me, is part of the soundtrack wherever it goes. It's a little bit like a sort of, it can be. The chap can be playing it on the piano in the barroom scene as they all walk in before shooting each other, and all this kind of stuff. Or it can be, embedded in the main music of the film, some big orchestral version. But if you search religiously all those great, John Ford westerns, you will find Brighton Camp somewhere in there. Anyway, this is the version that I've done for the Trad album, and yeah, love it. Anyway, there you go. I'm lonesome since I crossed the hill, and o'er the moor and the valley, such heavy thoughts my heart do fill, since parting with my Sally. Seek no more the fine or gay, for each does but remind me how swift the hours did pass away with the girl I left behind me. Oh, ne'er shall I forget the night the stars were bright above me, and gently lent their silvery light when she first vowed to love me. Now I'm bound in Brighton Camp, kind heaven then pray guide me, to send me safely back again to the girl I left behind. Her golden hair and ringlets, fair eyes like diamonds shining, her slender waist with carriage chase, they'll leave the swan repining. The gods above all hear my prayers, my beauty is fair to bind me, and send me safely back again to the girl I left behind me. The girl I left behind me. You Western Ocean labourers, I would have you to beware. When you're leaving Liverpool, no dungaree jumpers wear, but have a monkey jacket, all the ways at your command. And thinking no more of the cold nor'westers on the banks of the Newfoundland. As I lay in my bunk one night, I was dreaming all alone. Dreamt I was in Liverpool, way back in a Marylebone, with my true love beside of me, the jug of ale in hand. And then I awoke quite broken hearted on the banks of the Newfoundland. So we'll rub around and we'll scrub around with holy stone and sand. We'll bid farewell to the virgin rocks on the banks of the Newfoundland. We had a finch from a Ballinahinch, Jimmy Murphy and Mike Moore. 'Twas in the winter of '62, the sea boys suffered sore, but they'd pawned their clothes in Liverpool and sold them out of hand, not thinking of the cold nor'westers on the banks of the Newfoundland. So we'll rub around and scrub around with holy stone and sand. We'll bid farewell to the virgin rocks on the banks of the Newfoundland. We had a female passenger, Bridget Riley it was her name. To her I promised marriage, and on me she had a claim. But we tore up a flannel, a petticoats to make mittens for our hands. She couldn't see the sea boys freeze on the banks of the Newfoundland. So we'll rub around and scrub around with holy stone and sand. We'll bid farewell to the virgin rocks on the banks of the Newfoundland. Well, now we're off Sandy Hook and me boys, and the land's all covered with snow. Tugwell, take our hawser, and for New York we will tow. And when we arrive at the Black Ball Dock, pretty girls will come around, and we'll go no more roving on the banks of the Newfoundland. So we'll rub around and scrub around with holy stone and sand. We'll bid farewell to the virgin rocks on the banks of the Newfoundland. So we'll rub around and scrub around with holy stone and sand. We'll bid farewell to the virgin rocks on the banks of the Newfoundland. Yeah, always one of my favourites. That's a great old song. So I'll dedicate this to the memory of Peter, and also to Brian. I'll dedicate it to Brian, Bruce and Andy. And this had an extraordinary effect on us at the time. It's one of those moments, you know, where no one knew what to do after the end of these songs. They were so stunned, you know. It's like that moment before everyone goes bonkers. Yeah, that's the effect that it had on us, anyway. See you the ferny side that steals into the oak woods far? Oh, that was whence they hewed the keels that rolled to Trafalgar. And mark you where the ivy clings to Bayham's mouldering walls. Oh, there we cast the stout railings that stand around St. Paul's. See you the dimpled track that runs all hollow through the wheat? Oh, that was where they hauled the guns that smote King Philip's fleet. Out of the Weald, the sacred Weald, men sent in ancient years. The horseshoes read at Flodden Field, the hours at Poitiers. See you a little mill that clacks so busy by the brook. She has ground her corn and paid her tax ever since Domesday Book. See you a stilly woods of oak and the dread ditch beside. Oh, that was where the Saxons broke on the day that Harold died. See you the windy levels spread about the gates of Rye. Oh, that was where the Northmen fled when Alfred's ships came by. See you were pastures wide and lone where the red oxen browse. Oh, there was a city thronged and known ere London boasted a house. And see you after rain the trace of mound and ditch and wall. Oh, that was a legion's camping place when Caesar sailed from Gaul. And see you marks that show and fade like shadows on the downs. Oh, they are the lines the Flintmen made to guard their wondrous towns. Track, way and camp and city lost, salt marsh where now is corn. Old wars, old peace, old arts that cease, so was England born. She is not any common earth of water, wood or air, but Merlin's Isle of Gramarye, where you and I will fare. They don't write them like that anymore. So you'll forgive me for a little bit of comedy, but I have to play the most important instrument of all in musical history, of course. This is of course the ukulele, and very nice ukulele, a Fender ukulele, but nonetheless a ukulele. And it was the first instrument I ever learnt to play. It was my dad hadn't, although we had plenty of fiddles in the house, but my dad hadn't actually given me one at that point in time. But a neighbour down that way, Fred Milton, long dead, he gave me a ukulele, which has a long history, but that's a story for another time. And so at 6, this was the first instrument that I was actually thrashing around, discanting, sort of playing recorder at primary school and all of that kind of stuff. But anyway, I make no secret of the fact that I'm a huge Tom Lehrer fan, and I love. One of the reasons he gave for no longer being a satirical songwriter, and in fact returning to teaching, is a mathematics teacher, and he was really fed up with the razzmatazz and all the rest of it. He was selling a lot of records, and he was very well known in most English-speaking countries. But truth to tell, he just wanted to get back to a simple life and teaching maths. But he also, since so many of his songs are very satirical, he said, well, there's no point in writing anything anymore. Satire is dead now that Henry Kissinger has been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. You know, there's no more room for satire. So I don't know how Spitting Image are gonna maintain a satirical idea on sort of the Trumpian dystopia, and that's good. The Trumpian dystopia, I like that. Anyway, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, actually. I'm just going to sing what is one of my favourite songs, and that's all there is to it. First you get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect, and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Do whatever steps you want if you have cleared them with the pontiff. Everybody sings on Kyrie eleison, doing the Vatican rag. Get in line with that processional, step into that small confessional. Let the guy who's got religional tell you if your sin's original. If it is, try, then it's safer. Drink the wine and chew the wafer. 2, 4, 6, 8. Time to transubstantiate. So get down upon your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect, and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Make a cross on your abdomen, and when in Rome do like a Roman. Ave Maria, geez, good to see you, getting excited. dear, oh dear. Okay, right. So, weekend before last, I was up at Rickmansworth doing some work with Odette. I'm making a film at the moment, which is a film of part of a series which a lot of people are making to highlight what some of us consider to be a very, very bad thing, the destruction of ancient woodlands habitats on so that people can get to Birmingham 20 minutes quicker. I'm not going to get all political again, but nevertheless, my contribution to this will be a film. And it's a song that I did, one of the first songs I learnt with the Albion Band, written by Ashley. It's called The Woodlands of England. So Odette and I've done two versions of it. One is the big all singing, all dancing version for the film, but whilst we were working on it the weekend before last, we also just did a straightforward performance version, and I hope you like it. See you in the second half. Some of us are old timers, we've known many voices, heard Rosalind's laughter, Giles Winterbourne's call, heard the woodpecker beat at 2 as the day breaks. A retreat for us all. There's a song that they sing in the woodlands of England. If you stand very still, you might hear all green. Oh, they sing. When they finally cut down the woodlands of England, there'll be nowhere to hide, there'll be nowhere to seek. There'll be no one to carve out a heart or an issue. There'll be nowhere